We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter and abolish it, and to institute new governments laying its foundation of such principles, and organizing its power in such a form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Hello, guys. This is the Declaration of Independence. I want to address my colleagues, my friends, Republicans, as well as Democrats. And I'm going to ask you to please listen to yourself. The problem that's going on right now, we are not listening. Okay, we're being divided, and this is by design. Okay, the two political parties, one that I voted for as the one of the lesser evil, and regardless of what you may say, we have our reasons and opinions of why we voted for who we voted for, right? Especially if you voted for Donald Trump. The issue is we're not listening, and we are becoming aggravated. I see it every time online. Which is why I want to explain this, because I'm going to get to something very important. I want you to listen to me, both Republicans and Democrats. As you probably know already, the brain has three parts to it, right? Which is called the brain, which is called the true model. Three. Now, why is that important? Because one of the parts called the reptilian brain, and I'm going to get more to that. The second part is the limbic brain, and the third is the neocortex. Now, the reptilian brain, which is the brainstem right behind here, right, is a basic ganglia. Now, basically, just to tell you what it means, is basically this part of the reptilian brain controls your flight, your fight, right, your freeze or fawn response. It is a survival instinct. It is the function. It also controls your heart rate, your breathing, balance, and basic motor functions. It triggers danger, stress, perceived threats. The problem is when you are in this mode of state, your IQ is affected. Okay? And I have it here. When you operating from this part of the brain, your higher cognitive function shuts down. You react automatically and lose access to logical thinking and reasoning, survival, instinct, impulsiveness. This is where you go when you trigger or scared, think road rage, panic attacks, or overreacting during arguments. And I will even add, even regular people in jail right now because they committed murder, right? They were not in their logical brain. They were in their animal instinct brain, which was the first part that God gave us to survive in the wilderness. The second part of the brain is, which is the limbic brain, right? Hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the amygdala. These function control emotions, processing and memory, controls feeling like fear, love, anger, joy, memory formation. It triggers relationship memories, emotional charge experience, IQ effect. And I don't want to drag this down. Obviously, the third part is the logical part of the brain, which is the neocortex, right? Planning, reasoning, self-awareness. That's where mostly you should be. It's good to be in the emotional part as well, but you want to be in the logical. And right now, why I say that? Because most people are not being illogical. They're so in the reptilian brain, and it's, when you are in this state of mind, honestly, you easily manipulate and control. And that's where the elites want you to be. Divide and conquer. These two parties, I'm being honest, sold themselves many decades ago. They don't represent we, the people. Granted, there may be one or two that may be good, but the fact of the matter is that we are being run by foreign entities. We are being run by banking cartels like the Federal Reserve Bank, 12 Fabs. And I don't want to get too much into this because I want you to block me out and, like a lot of people say, conspiracy theorists, right? But what I want you is to give you an idea and understand it's going to be two part of this because I don't want to prolong this and I'm going to back it up. And by the way, because I get a lot of negative response from a lot of people sometimes. I get a lot of great ones, or more great than negative. But I'm going to ask you, when you ask me for the sources in today's day and age, I get it. You have to be skeptical. You can't just listen to anyone or everyone, right? But that being said, we have many technology in today's world where you can fact check things. Now, you're probably older than me. Maybe you could even be my age. I've seen people that are literally, sometimes even younger, and they are so skeptical and ignorant, if I may say so. Because in today's world, we have $1 billion apps that are artificial intelligent, like Chat GPT. That's ChatGPT. And there's the pay version, but they also have a free version. And if you ever want to know anything or backup sources, you could go there free of charge, www.chatgpt.com, and ask them questions, whether it's regarding biblical, misconceptions, mistranslations, anything of the sort, or in life, you could verify and know that it is an unbiased system before you shout at me or come at me and basically say, no, it isn't true. Whenever I put something online, I check my sources and I validate it. Keep in mind that yes, you can't trust everything you see online, and people do change things, which is why you also want to be skeptical. But I'm going to go over something in history, because history repeats itself later on in another video, because I want you to realize how things are and how they have changed and what is happening right now. Now, for those who don't know, yes, I am a Republican. Okay. However, I don't want you to classify me per se Republican or this or that, because I want you to understand something. We all have different opinions. We all vote for the reasons that we think is going to best serve our personal interests. And my opinions or my personal interests may not be yours. So it doesn't make it right or wrong. It just makes it who benefits me the most, or who appears to benefit me the most. So, for instance, there was an argument online in regards to what's going on with the immigrants. Now, as Republican, most of you believe on the Constitution. I want to discuss that. Most of you believe in God as well. Am I correct? Right? Now, I'm a constitutionalist. I study constitutional law, common law, real estate law, business law. I'm not an attorney, but I also study a lot of history. And because the way my mind works, I'm able to see things a little deeper than some people. I don't know. I was born a little weird, if you may say so, but I see things a little different. I don't know if it's ADHD or I forgot the other one. See, and I forget a lot of stuff, right? It's harder for me to verbally articulate, but I'm a lot better writing things down, which is why I'm a writer and author. Now, there was this guy that was arguing and saying, that he believes on the Second Amendment right. I'm sure as Republicans, most of you do. Democrats, maybe not so many, but this is where I want to get to. Now, he was arguing with somebody else. He even cursed this lady out. Okay, but he's a Republican. Now, people when they argue, they assume that because you may have slight different opinions, that now you are a Democrat, right, or Democrat. And Democrats does the same thing. Sometimes they think you're going to say something, they quickly shut you down without first listening. Remember I said you got to get out of the reptilian brain, and you can help and assist by not getting into arguments. Try to convey your opinion and your beliefs without belittling the other person, okay? Especially without cursing the other person, because then that person is automatically going to become ripped in that reptilian state of mind, and it's not going to listen to you. And then what's the point? You're going to be going back and forth and nobody's listening to each other. My thing is to try to educate people. If they accept it, well, great. If they don't, then I got to move on, because if not, I'm just going to, I've been there. I'm going to be back and forth, and nothing's going to be accomplished, because at that time, they're not in the logical part of the brain where they're thinking correctly. Okay. Now, this person, just to mention, he mentioned about the Second Amendment, right? Yet he's against immigrants. Now, those that are Republican, I'm sure that a lot of us, right, as me personally, we wanted the border secured. Okay. Has nothing technically to do with immigrants, although this gave a license to a lot of some Republicans, I should say, not a lot, some Republicans that are racist. right? And now they're out there and you could hear them and see them, and it's obvious to me. And yet, even though I'm an American born and raised in New York, don't forget, I come from Native Americans, Arawak Taino, indigenous people. Obviously, we were mixed, what we know today as Puerto Rican, right? So we speak Spanish. So we relate a lot with the Spanish culture and language. That being said, he mentioned about he was against a lot of stuff, but he believes in the Second Amendment. And I respond, great. Does that imply that you believe in the Constitution of the United States of America? If so, what about the Fourth Amendment? No warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. Or the Fifth, or the Sixth, or criminal prosecution. The accused shall enjoy the right of a speedy and public trial. Or the Ninth, or the 14th, due process clause, which is the most important one, prohibits states from depriving any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Equal protection clause requires states to provide equal protection under the law to all people within their jurisdiction. This has been the foundation for civil rights cases, including those related to racial discrimination, gender equality, even immigration rights, etc. Or do you think these rights only apply to the United States Republicans or whites and not Democrats or immigrants? Last I checked, it stipulates that the right of the people, not United States of American citizen, and the Declaration of Independence convey as stated. And I already read it to you. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. What is unalienable rights? It's God-given rights, natural rights. That among these are what? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, I have no problems, guys, with securing the board. I mean, if you don't understand it, there's a lot of trafficking going on, drugs coming in. We could be getting terrorists. My personal opinion, I believe this is all planned. And since I already told you, the Republicans and Democrats work together, okay, in the scenes they represent special interest group. They are complicit to war crimes, as we'll discuss in another video, right? You see what we're doing. They are in violation of international law as well as human rights and a lot of other stuff. So that being said, they're not representing we the people. They're representing foreign entities and other above America, right? And when I voted for my president, I voted allegedly for someone who was America first, not Israel first, right? And another thing I voted for is no wars, not where we are right now, war without even declaring. The Congress has not declared, but we are in a major conflict that could get a lot worse. It could become regional. And I assure you, based on my past experience and history and knowledge, which I'll discuss later as well, we will attack Iran. And Iran is not, as people think, easy, like they think like Iraq. It's not going to be like that, guys. All right? There's a lot, and I don't want to discuss the Strait of Hormuz or all that comes through there, the technology that they have, and that's about that we know of. We don't even know what we don't know, right? We know they have missiles that go about 25 times the speed of light. They have laser beams that could target. There's a lot. But regardless of whatever happens, it's going to create an issue where it could even drag other states like Russia and China because they depend a lot on Iran. Now, why is this important? I got to remind everyone of your oath. Because why I mentioned what I just said here is basically because you believe in the Second Amendment as I do. I believe on all the amendments. And the truth is, it's not about the immigrants. The issue that is going on is the inhumane thing of holding them over 30 days, now allowing them to call the attorney. Now, due process of law, right? Violation of civil rights, now allowing them to call their family, let them know where they're at. I personally seen videos. And if I was the president, I would have definitely handled it different, right? They speak about alleged criminals, right? And listen, I have no problem, but with lock up the criminals, absolutely. But the problem is that everybody's being classified as criminal to the point that there's a lot of laws that are being passed by different states. I'm reading it. I'm looking at these laws, and it's inhumane. And what they're asking for is like arrest perpetuity. And I know this because there's a lot of even senators investing in private prisons, and that should give you a red flag, right? And there is more, right? We heard stories, facts of American being arrested, Americans being detained because of racial profiling, because they hear them speak Spanish and they assume, and we have a due process, and we supposed to have what is called judicial warrant, right? You can just arrest or detain anyone. There has to be probable cause backed up by oath and affirmation. I'm going to get to that a little more. And I also want you to watch the video because I get more detail into the Alien Enemy Act of 1798 and how this has been used many times and classified as a violation of civil rights, which we're using right now because we used it where many others in the past in World War I, World War II, where Americans started out with aliens, but we ended up detaining and arresting in camps, concentration camps, if you will, certain groups of people. The last one that I recall, well, they were Koreans and all that, but Japanese was the most ones that I remember, in the thousands, lost their homes and all that. So I want you to watch my video. I'm in YouTube at GeorgeAlmodovar.com. So that's youtube.com/@GeorgeAlmodovar. And I want you to watch this video, the Alien Enemy Act of 1798, because I get more into discussion. But I want to remind many of you, because most of you, or a lot of you, I should say, swore an oath, especially if you're in the military, right? And that oath went through its changes, especially during the Civil War area in 1862, because of the Civil War, obviously under Abraham Lincoln. But I want you to remind you of your oath, because your oath was not to a man. Your oath was not to a leader or a political party. Your oath was to the Constitution of the United States. And it goes as follows. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemy, foreign or domestic, that I will bear true fruits and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according, this is the key here, according to the regulation and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Why I mentioned this, the Uniform Code of Military, because when they passed this in 1862, they didn't pass this in 1862, they passed it in June 1775, but they ratified or changed it, I should say, in 1862, because obviously there was a civil war. They want to make sure they have allegiance to the president, at that time, Abraham Lincoln, because that was divided the North and South. So that being said, the Uniform Code, you could look that up, especially when it was enacted in 1950 by the Congress under the Title 10, United States Code, Chapter 47. And it implies that all members of the United States military, including active duty personnel, reservists while on duty, members of the National Guard under federal orders, in some cases retirees and civilians accompanying the military during wartime. And one of the things that it says is protect the rights of the accused through legal due process. I want you to keep that in mind, because for those of you that are in denial, and I get it all the time, I'm giving you actual sources. There's a freaking video, for God's sake, on Channel 11, where a United States veteran, a citizen of the United States in New Jersey, was detained. He showed his ID and his military paperwork. He was Puerto Rican over here in the United States, in New Jersey, and he was detained, and they were alleging that those paperwork was false. The mayor of New Jersey got involved. He was so upset that he was threatening to even arrest ICE because they did that. They went into this business through the back without a warrant. It's called judicial warrant, not administrative warrant, a judicial warrant. Okay, so that's just one guy, guys. So that tells you, are they just going out there and arresting people, detaining people? Absolutely. And there's many more. Okay. And the media is hiding it because the medias are owned by the same elites and controlled by the same elites of people. This is a fact, not a conspiracy. Those of you, as I stated before, you got GPT, right? Chat GPT. Research this. I also speak about 9/11. I speak about the five dancing Israeli. I speak about World Trade 7, which was FBI headquarters. When it went down, 26 minutes prior of it being down, BBC was on the news saying that it had collapsed when it had not. It's a lot more, guys, and I have this on my YouTube video, and I have videos of that time with the news reporters, so you can verify all this. Because what's going on is horrendous, and I'm going to compare history in my next video because I want you to see the comparison of the guy with the mustache. You know who I'm talking about in Germany? What was going on right now? Okay, so stay tuned for the next video. I urge you to watch it. It's going to be called History Repeats Itself. Thank you for watching. Please watch the next video. Thank you.